All right. We are live. How's it going? Gonna give us a second for people to show up, get the notification that we are, in fact, live. Okay. If you're here, drop a comment. Let me know you're here. Say hello. I've got my comment box here so I can see. This is the second ever live stream. If you're here, say hello. Comment, I'm here, to let us know that you're here. I have a few questions that people had asked on the community post I posted a day ago. We're going to cover some of those. Hopefully we have a good turnout like we did last week. If you were here last week, thank you for being here last week. We're going to do another Q&A. Hey, I am going to pronounce your name very wrong. What's up, peasant? Hey, dude, you're here like every time. Every time being like, this is the second time, but like videos too. You know what I mean. Buyout. Cedric's in the house. Radiant Wave. Thanks. Says, hey, great video, super helpful. Appreciate that. Thank you. So we're going to do a very similar format to how we did last week. So if you were here last week, welcome back. That's awesome. If you weren't here last week, what? No, I'm just totally kidding. Yes, I figured it was Brazilian. I've been to Brazil, spent about a month in Brazil, did a tour there. I did a tour there several years ago. 8 years ago, maybe. Sao Paulo, in a number of, just all around there. So anyway, beautiful. I would love to go back. Big E, hey man, how's it going? You think you can learn? Oh wow, and you're a pro, dude. That's awesome. I wish I was a pro. No, my Huskers are not going to play. Thanks for just rubbing that in. Yes, I'm glad you said something though. Most people don't even like. I rep the Huskers every single video. I've been doing it every single video. Oh, cool. You're from Minas. Get it. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Oh, it's near Sao Paulo. Great. So I remember the other city that I was in is like Curitiba, which is like a German town. It's really cool. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. So if you have any questions, just like drop them in the comment section. I've got a few questions that were already asked that I'm going to cover. And so we're going to run through those three to kind of give some a little bit of favor to those that had asked in the community post. And then we will jump into some of your guys' questions. And then if we run out of questions like shortly, which last time at about the 15-minute mark, everyone just bombarded me with questions, which would be incredible if we do that again. If not, then what I'm going to do is I actually have a session pulled up of a track that I'm going to be releasing a music video for. I've not released a music video in quite a while. And I am going to be releasing one, Lord willing, in the next few days. I'm a little behind. It's been crazy. Javawaki, good to see you again. That's awesome. Welcome. So yeah, I've not done a music video. Big E, yeah. So everyone else can see what comment I'm referring to. Yeah, dude. So I live in Lincoln, Nebraska, actually. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just jump into the questions that were already asked, and then we will jump into your guys' questions. So let's do this. So Sandra had a question about reference tracks, which plugin, when in the mixing process. So I've said this before. Nathan Jackson, how's it going? So I've said this before, and I mean, obviously, I'm not a mixing channel, and I'm not a mixing engineer. My focus is primarily as a producer and a writer. I know how to mix, and I've done it, and I mix, but I really do believe that there's a lot of value in getting very, very good at either being a producer or being a mixing engineer. I'm not saying you can't do both, but for the purpose of this channel, I really think my quote unquote unfair advantage as a teacher is primarily from the lens of how do you fuse composition with production. That's really what my thing is. So do I use reference tracks when I do mix? Yes, I do. Typically, I'm going to use Spotify. I'm going to change the volume on Spotify. Um, daga, daga, daga. I just completely lost my train of thought. Yes, I turn the volume down to match, to like level match. So I don't know what that means. It's showing me this thing. It says Biggie, pair character bowing down saying thank you. Oh, I bet that's, oh, dude, thanks. Thank you. Is that a super chat? I think I just enabled that. So I have no idea what's happening. Okay, so I had another question about side chains, group side chains. How many tracks am I supposed to side chain and how many leave without? So similar kind of thing. This is kind of a mixing question, but it can also be a producing question. I actually tend to use plugins that can do that for me. I actually really like Tremolator to give that side chaining effect on things. So it's a tremolo. Cedric, thank you. That it occurred to me. Thank you for that, Biggie. That's awesome. So I tend to do like a totally thanks, man. Thanks for the dinner. So I'm sorry. This is like a side note. This is only my second time doing a YouTube live, and so like I feel like a total noob at this. I've been making YouTube videos for quite a while, but I just have not really done the whole YouTube live thing. So this is all like kind of new for me. So anyway, back to what I was saying about the side chaining side of things. I tend to use either movement by output for that, and I'm using it primarily as an effect on the production side of things, on like bass elements and things like that. Again, I'm not really doing it so much in the mixing front because I'll have my mixing guy do that. Here's a great question though. This is the one that I wanted to talk a little bit more. How do I come up with the melodies? Do you immediately start with the loop or decide the song structure first? This is a really good question. This is by, man, I just cannot pronounce people's names. Sridhard Iyer. So every song I do is different when it comes to like coming up with melodies. And Jawawaki, dude, thank you, appreciate the super chat. So with melodies, I tend to come up with chord progressions first. I don't use loops because I'm a composer first and a producer second. So Abby, how's it going? Good to see you again. So I tend to do chord progressions on piano or guitar. You like 85% of the time to 90% of the time it's on the piano. I'll come up with a chord progression, an idea I like. I usually do all of my writing within my DAW, so within Logic. I am either going to pull up a piano sound that I like that's going to get me inspired, or if I know I'm not going to write something that's going to be piano driven, I'm going to pull up some sort of a sound to start inspiring me in the direction that I want to go. So I kind of do this whole, I'm writing and kind of doing some of the production stuff kind of in the same vein. And then when it comes to melodies, you should watch my video on writing a song in 35 not in 35 seconds, in 35 minutes. Because that's a really good example of my entire process, because it's very often what it looks like. I'll come up with some idea, chord progression, and then literally I just like mumble sing on it. And that's usually how it goes. I'll just kind of mumble my way through it. I'll I'll do some sort of a vowel shape, vowel sound, and then I'll come up with melodies that way. If you want a little bit more of a structured kind of a way, then you're going to want to primarily use chord tones, which are just notes that are part of the chord, and then, use stepwise motion, which is, So Radiant Wave, very cool to have the DAW bass guys. Yes, I basically use Logic as an instrument. I see Logic as a very good compositional tool. So yeah, I love the integration of writing within Logic. So Cedric says he's a composer too. Chords movie along with the lyrics, even if I hear a melody vote. Yes, I agree with that sentiment a lot. And my mouse just decided to give out on me, so I can no longer go back. Mumble singing, the next big thing. Yep. um, but yeah, so what's funny is the way I got into producing music was when I was in high school. I was a freshman. I had already been before this. I had studied with a songwriter for about 4 years, and I had the opportunity to work with him. He was a successful songwriter back in the '80s, and so my whole experience getting into producing music, it started out 100% as a writer, as a composer, and then I had a choir teacher who knew that I was writing music because I would literally just play piano and sing and create music all the time, and so he knew this, and he basically asked me like, "Hey, like, have you ever used GarageBand?" And it was like, "No, like, I don't know, I don't." And he introduced me to GarageBand, and then I started taking TA periods. He allowed me to become his TA for choir, where I then was able to spend about an hour every day borrowing his laptop while he was directing like girls' choir or something like that. And he was literally just like, "Yeah, just like learn how to use GarageBand." So I did that for about a year. Every single day, I would literally just steal his computer. And then I ended up saving up, bought my own computer, bought Logic, and then it was literally just hours upon hours every single day. Okay, so I had a question here. Yeah, Big E. Everyone hit the like button. Yes, that helps. Helps with the YouTube algorithm. Okay. Let's see. Any questions? Those were the only three questions that I had leading up to this from yesterday. So any questions? Okay, so right now trying to create on Logic, trying to mix rock, reggae, ska, and African Brazilian rhythms out of great ideas so far. That's well, as far as this ideas, I think a lot of it is well, there's a really good, like if you want to learn, if you want to get really good at something, then there's a couple things you can do. One is your input. In other words, how much are you taking in to allow your brain to basically learn new ideas? Because at the end of the day, so much of what we create is inspired by what we hear, and then the rest of it is spend some time learning, some basic music theory. I really think that music theory is not valued high enough because music theory as a whole kind of gets this bad rep. I really think of it as more of like music principles of how does music work. So understanding like chords, how chords interact with one each other with each other, what different types of things you can do in terms of filling in space, and so just understanding the principles of what makes a great song is great. So, Jackson Plant, thanks for all the videos. Thank you. That's awesome. How many hours a day do I produce? Not as many as I used to. Most of it now is developing educational material, like for the YouTube video, and then I'm in the process of creating a very in-depth program, teaching, and it'll be like a limited thing where I'm going to bring in just a very small number of students every other month to work with me for about 6 weeks. So I'm really, really, really working hard on the educational stuff. I Fun fact, I actually first started trying to do this back in 2016, and I quit, which is really sad to say. But I walked away because the YouTube channel just wasn't really taking off the way I wanted it, and I don't know. I got pretty got kind of punched in the face a little bit with it, just a little discouraged. And so anyway, so when I came back and started having the growth here, the guy on the left, sup, what's up? But yeah, I do produce professionally though. I have clients that I produce for, mostly kind of in that cinematic pop mainstream. I don't know, like a lot of what I've been able to kind of do is like, a lot more strings and, kind of use some of my classical background to infuse it into pop and stuff like that. Okay. Big E. That's some good advice there too. Using like different time signatures and experience. Yes, that's a really good idea. Okay, so Jackson Plant says, how do I learn about sound design stuff in Logic, trial and error? Both. So for the first, I think I got Logic when I was 15. And so I saved up, got a laptop, and then I got Logic, and I literally just was experimenting with everything built into Logic. I actually didn't buy my first I didn't buy my first sample library and really anything like professional stuff beyond just like having an interface and microphone and stuff like that until I was 19. I was already doing stuff professionally, like getting paid to do it before I actually bought anything. The first thing I bought was Native Instruments Complete Ultimate 8 or 9. I forget which version it was, one of the older versions. And that was like the first thing that I got. And it was because I started writing music for a film company doing advertising. And it was kind of a really cool thing. So I was like literally just using like Logic sounds, and that was back when it was Logic 9, so not nearly as good as it is today. And I basically like, well, if I'm gonna get paid to do this, I should probably have some better sounds to use. Um, so question about Logic Pro or Pro Tools. I am a huge Logic fan. So that actually, yeah. So I use Pro Tools. That kind of gets back to Jackson Plant's question. I ended up when I was in college. I have a degree in music composition. When I was in college, I ended up working under a producer who's quite successful. It does a lot of sync licensing. For those that don't know, sync licensing means creating music that is then licensed for television. So music you hear in advertisements typically, music that you hear in television many times it's sync licensing. He just makes a killing as far as that, and so I learned a ton from him. I learned more from him than anything. And I bought courses too before that to like learn a lot of the basics and stuff like that. But then I ended up working with him, and it was like, shoot, you spend a few months working with somebody who really knows what they're doing. You're going to learn more in that few months than like years. So it literally shaved off years of my learning curve. Um, Alex Roan. You've been quite successful. Electronic music does over 6 figures a year. Dude, yes. I would love to talk with you about that. Yes. Alex, oh, sorry, man, there are so many comments coming in here. This is awesome. Thank you guys. This is seriously incredible. Complete 13 was just dude, I know. So this is I literally just started a relationship with Native Instruments, so I need to like go to them and be like, yo, you guys should like give me Complete 13. Yeah. I'm not gonna do that, but that would be pretty cool. Steven, how's it going? You've been playing mellophone since 11th grade. Was wondering what the best chances at getting into LSU's marching band. What to do to best. Okay, practice like crazy, like seriously, just practice. And here's the thing: a lot of people think that the amount of time that you practice is the kicker. It's not. The truth of the matter is there's a direct correlation between the level of focus you have, and this is with production, this is with writing, this is with anything. The level of focus that you have while you're doing literally anything is directly related to the result that you're going to get out of it. So for the first like years and years and years of piano, I started out as a pianist, classically trained. It would be like, okay, practice like 30 minutes a day or whatever. And I'll just like go through and just like, okay, I guess I'll just do it. And then as I got better, I got a little more, I like wanted to do it. That was one of the things too. Like I wanted to do it, so I was doing it more. And then when I got into high school, I was fortunate enough to work with a professor at a university who took on special students. And he basically was the one who was like, look, you could spend 5 hours a day practicing, but if you're not extremely focused, you're not going to get as much done as someone who practices for an hour a day who is very, very, very focused. So focused practice is much better than just hours. I'm going to need to catch up on comments here. So Javawaki, I know you're not a mixing dude. I'll pump this up. Yes, absolutely. I would love to do that. Peasant, on a scale of 1 to 10, how easy is it to make it a living as a producer? That's really tough because I think it actually has a lot more to do with how smart you are as an entrepreneur and as like in terms of marketing and in terms of selling and in terms of getting yourself in front of people. I would say I would say that's actually the harder part. Of course, you have to have the skill set, but I think a lot of people don't understand how much the mindset is actually more of it than anything else. The mindset is crazy. Alex Rome, my email is njl. Here, I'll just comment it in here. NJL Studio Productions at Gmail. I just commented in there. Hopefully you can see that. NGL Studio Productions. Joseph Schuetz in the house. What's up, buddy? So, fun fact, Joseph Schuett and I went to high school together. That's so awesome. Guy on the left, 11 out of 10. Yeah, that's pretty funny. No, I know. I mean, but I think most people, it's a confidence thing. It's a mental thing more than anything. Again, you need to have a skill set, but I think most people, they are like, oh, I can't ask for money because I'm not good enough yet. But it's like, no, like even if you ask for like a few $100s to be like, hey, I'll produce a song for $300. Like my first paid gig, I got paid $300 to do. And then it just scaled up from there. And then, you know, I made a lot of money just doing literally everything. I mean, I just never said no to anything. And then that, kind of gets the ball rolling in terms of rapport and whatnot. So, I mean, like I've literally made money, being commissioned to write for professional like violinists and doing like commissioned work, getting paid like $1,000 to like, hey, like I want you to just write me a violin and piano track or not track. This is like before I was doing as much producing, doing more composing. But like, yeah, like, can I pay you $500? And I'd be like, I could do it for 1,000. They'd be like, okay. And so it's like, how much do you value your own time, your own work? The other thing is you're not charging for how much time it takes you to do something right now. You're in charging for how many years did it take you to get to that point to where you can do it. Because most of the production work that I do, it's actually really fast. Let's see. So Biggie, hey, if you don't have a bunch of libraries besides your host DAW that get complete, my problem is I buy a lot of them. So release something like, yeah, I honestly think Native Instruments Complete Ultimate Bundle is the best bundle you could possibly buy. In fact, I'm going to be making a video on that because, yeah. So yes, the Complete 13. You were asking about that. Bio. I just feel so bad. I'm probably pronouncing your name so bad. Yeah, the Complete 13 is going to have a bunch of sample libraries, and it also has a bunch of other plugins as well. Apo, hey, do you have any experience with Spitfire BBC Symphony? Yes. So I have the BBC Symphony Orchestra. Other good ones, yes. Native Instruments has their essentials, their orchestral essentials. I feel like I'm lagging here. There we go. They have their essentials. East West Quantum Leap is good. Takes up a ton of it. Those are huge samples. So yeah, call you JP. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm like, I feel really bad. So yes, what do I think about the new Logic? I love it. I think it's awesome. It's funny because some people have said that they're having like all sorts of problems with it. I think the new Logic update is really good. Biggie, yes, literally what he just said right there. Yes. Oh, Cedric, I'm so sorry. I totally missed your question earlier. Can you adjust the pitch drift any further than using the basic slider on Melodyne? So, fun fact, I don't use Melodyne. I use Flex Pitch. And my trick to pitch drift is I actually cut. So rather than actually using the pitch drift knob to adjust that, I will actually make a cut and then manipulate it a little bit more specifically. Java love 10.5. Yep. The live loop feature is cool. I've yet to figure out how I want to integrate it into my writing. I've made a couple videos on it because I know a lot of people wanted me to, and I've tried to find ways to use it. That's the one thing that I'm kind of like, I feel like they need to spend a little bit more time figuring out the whole live loops feature so it's a little more usable. But yeah, my mouse is just not wanting to cooperate. You've been thinking about combining Melodyne and Logic. Yeah, I mean, yep. Do you mind showing my studio? There's not much to see. So here, I'll actually change my camera. Here's my, literally, so you saw this over here on this angle. So I've got guitars here. They have acoustic, electric, and a bass guitar. My mic back here, that's my Avantone CV12. Really enjoy that. This mic is the Lauten LS208. Let's see, I'm gonna move +1. This is like the the most lame studio. I'm just gonna move my webcam. Yeah, you can see I have an acoustic piano behind me. It's a little spinet. It sounds like crap. This right here is my Native Instruments Control S88. I love this thing so much. It is literally, oh my gosh, I love it so much. Guitar Rig 6. I've not used Guitar Rig 6. I've used Guitar Rig 5. I will have to try a Guitar Rig 6. The UI on the previous version was pretty out of date when I tried it last year. Sorry, what's that, Radiant Wave? The UI on what? Oh, on Guitar Rig. I like Guitar Rig. Sounds so much better than Logic stuff. What instruments do I actually play? So I'm a trained piano is my primary instrument. I've been playing piano since I was about 6. And then I play guitar, I play bass, I play drums, I play Logic. No, just totally kidding. So yeah, and cello and then alto sax. Both of those two kind of like, a little, not really. But yeah, piano is definitely my strong suit. I've been playing piano for a very long time. Guitar, I can fake it till I make it. I can do enough. I can record. I can be my own session player. Bass, I'm good at bass. I'm very proficient at bass. I love playing bass. My bass is a 6-string. Actually, let me show you this. Here we go. So this right here is my bass. 6-string bass. Do I ever use all 6 strings? No, of course not. That's a long story. Slap like now, dude. I can't slap. I said okay. I can play. Go check out. Just like go watch DV504 for that, man. Just no. Stop like now. So yeah, I'm not. I can't slap. I wish I could. I wish I could play like that. But yeah, as far as Ben Ashford, dude, how's it going, man? Davey 504 likes it. So thought what I would do is, hey, if you guys have any questions, just like do it. Does S88 integrate well with Logic? Yes. Full weighted keys? Yes. It is full weighted keys. So I've played a lot of fully weighted keyboards. I love this. I think it's really good. I really like a little bit of a heavier feel. Andy, hello from Indonesia. How's it going? Dude, yeah, Cedric Davey is absolutely ridiculous. He makes me want to quit. You know who makes me want to quit? Jacob Collier. Yeah. Just, I hate him so much, but then I love him. Just freaking Jacob Collier. Anyway, back to the S88. Yes, it is. It does. So it's yes. So Biggie says yes. It's through contact. It is. They have like literally like a complete control like instrument that you pull up. So rather than pulling up like just a regular instance of like Contact 6, you'll literally just pull up complete control, and then you can fully integrate it. You can choose your sounds from the keyboard. You can manipulate the sounds from the keyboard. It's very cool. I really like it. This one's an older version. I really wish that So this one has the touch mod wheel and touch pitch bend. I don't like that. That's like the one thing I really do not like about the keyboard, because the mod wheel is super, like, because normally, yeah, it's just tough, because with a physical mod wheel you can like put it halfway and it just stops, and you can literally just like touch it and then move it up again. With the touch mod wheel, it's just a lot harder. So if I'm like doing strings, for example, and I'm using the mod wheel for my expression, I have to literally keep my finger on the mod wheel the whole time to feel like I have total control over it, and that's a little bit irritating. That's the one thing I don't like. Apo, any recommendations on site where you can get work? um Facebook, Instagram, seriously, social media. Like, if you're a producer and you want to get work, um, or even if like me, like as an educator, like I'm using this YouTube channel as a way of getting myself out there as well. Obviously, I want to bring as much value to you guys as possible, but I I would be lying if I said that I don't want the educational building to be what I actually do professionally full time. And that's the direction that we're going with this. And then YouTube is an, and I've gotten clients from YouTube. I have artists that hire me as a producer because of YouTube. But Facebook and Instagram, if you're just getting started, are probably better. So like on Instagram, showing examples of what you're doing. I really don't use Instagram a ton, but I have good friends who just crush it with Instagram and make a ton of money through Instagram, basically getting to know other artists, or artists finding producers, and the whole nine yards. So Radiant Wave, do I use an expression pedal? No, I do not. Javawaki, describe the color for the thing to my left. Yes, this is the Novation Launchpad X. Yeah, I made a video here. That's all it is. I made a video showing how it integrates with Logic's live loops, and I enjoy it. I like it. I need to use it more. So, but I do use it for like drums and stuff like that. And then it's nice because if I'm traveling, it fits in my backpack with my laptop, or not my backpack. I'm not in high school anymore, or college. Yeah, I have like a laptop case that literally the whole Launchpad can fit in. So eventually, what I would like to do is I really want to get the Native Instruments S29, which is like their little mini one. So, anyone else have questions? We can just keep rolling. This is awesome. I'm just going back here to make sure I haven't missed anything. Sweet. Cool. So, if we have any more questions come in, like, feel free to just drop any questions. One of the things that I get excited about is, so like one of the things that I think a lot of, not even just newer producers, but a lot of producers in general, struggle with, is creating like really dynamic arrangements. And so that's something that I want to find a way of maybe making an entire video on this. But um, one of the things I thought I would do if things slowed down, which things have slowed down a little bit in terms of comments, is to show, the big question is Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd. Led Zeppelin. I didn't really listen to Pink Floyd. I never really listened to Pink Floyd. If we're talking like music from that, older music, I was more into like Van Halen and Boston and whatnot. John Dunn, is it Dunn or Dune? Let me know. He asked if I use Smart Tempo at all. No, I do not. I do not use Smart Tempo. I always figure out the tempo right away. That's just the first thing I do. Peasant, you have no AC in your house, so we use fans. This creates a lot of noise. That's a challenge. Tips for removing noise in post? Not really, because you're gonna have any of the plugins that can do that, oftentimes are gonna, like, at least in my experience, like I've used some that have been through. It's been a long time through Audition, Adobe's Audition, and it just never worked. Um, I would say, I guess first thing I would want to know is like, what kind of music are you doing? What kind of microphone are you using? Um, so actually, like this microphone here, the Loudon LS208, is designed. So just real quick, you can, if I take my headphones off here and listen, my air conditioning is running. It's pretty loud, but you can't hear it. It's because this microphone is designed that way to be used in rooms that are really not ideal for recording. So that might be something you'd want to look into. Um, so full disclosure, I'm not sponsored by Loudon, but they did send me this mic to use. And I I love this thing. Like this thing sounds incredible. It has a lot of options too, but it's also not a cheap mic. It's like a $600 mic. Um, so, if you have the money for something like that, that would be ideal. But you know, even like a Shure SM58 or any other type of dynamic mic is going to kind of cancel out some of that noise. I actually, even though Radiant Wave, yes, it's 600. Even though some of those dynamic mics don't have the same level of clarity and whatnot, there's still a lot you can do. I mean, like I've recorded music using just an SM58 and make it sound really good. Marcelo, do I use Logic Remote or iPad to produce? I mean, I use them in my workflow, but I'm not using them to produce. I primarily am using the Logic remote on my phone as a way of controlling my DAW when I'm not sitting at my computer. Like to know how to change a track tempo, but only in a specific region and not the entire. Yes, that is possible. JP, are you using Logic? Because you mentioned Logic and Pro Tools. Are you using Logic? Big E, yes, they are great microphones. Timothy, I do use monitors. I have the PreSonus Era C5s. But I have a 1-year-old boy who is going to be going down to sleep here like shortly. And so a lot of times I do use headphones when I'm producing, just to kind of keep things quieter. He's up anyway, but yeah. But I do things at a very low volume. One, because I already have a little bit of hearing damage, and I do not want to make that worse. And then two, my wife just, if I turn things up too loud, I'll get a text like, "Hey, can you turn that down?" So JP, I'm going to show you this in Logic. Here's Logic. So this is no. So this is a session that I've got open here. Let's do that. So the way you would do that is you go up to here. Hopefully you can see my cursor. Click that button. See tempo, and then you can now go to wherever it is that you want, and you can literally click a button there. Click a button there. And you can just change the tempo. I do not want to do that though, but that's how you do it in Logic. So pretty simple. And if you control click, you can hide things and whatnot or show things. So you can do that. That's how I would do it. Hopefully that helps. So Biggie, what's on my master channel if you're doing a piano and strings track? So hold on. With you on the young one as well. Timothy, yep. So as far as what's on my master channel if I'm doing a piano and strings track. So again, like I'm not like a mixing wizard, so I'm probably more likely to be wrong on stuff, but I usually am going to do like EQ compression limiter. And not a lot of times it'll be like compression EQ limiter. And then the EQ that I use will either be like a tube EQ or something like that. But I don't think there's any like one way of doing it. Do you think a better mic would be a good upgrade? Which gear should you invest in? Radiant Wave. Okay, this is a good question. Which gear should you invest in first? I think if you have a decent mic, if you have an audio interface, a decent mic, it depends. So it's going to depend on what you do, right? So if let's say you're like a country producer, it's going to be very different than someone who's electronic as far as what gear you're going to want to be investing in. Because if you're a country producer, it might be more likely that you want to have the ability to record full drums, unless you're hiring out, unless you're hiring that out. So some of those decisions are going to be a little bit different, as far as what you should do first. For me personally, I think that the best upgrade after you already have a microphone, audio interface, and cables and all that junk, and like a MIDI controller, I really think sounds is like getting new sounds. I think that's the best investment for me, at least. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I don't really invest a lot in plugins that are just like effect plugins. I have Soundtoys Effect Rack, and then everything that's come with the Native Instruments Complete Ultimate 12. I've bought a few here and there, but like I really don't buy a whole lot of like plugins for effects, because I really think that having more sound options for instruments is better for me, um, than like buying more microphones. For me, I only have 3 microphones. This one, my Avantone CV12, and then an NSM58. That's it. So I'm not working with a big mic locker. I'm like a typical home studio producer with a few options to use. Nothing that's like crazy expensive. My MIDI controller, my S88, and my sample libraries are where I've spent most of my money. And then obviously like computer and stuff like that. So, um, okay. Any other questions? Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. This is fun, guys. I enjoy doing this very, very much. So this is only the second time doing this, and this has been a lot of fun. I think here's what we'll do. Let's see, how long is this? Okay, so this is a good question too. Easier to mix with monitors or headphones because having an ideal, yeah. If you just don't have an ideal space, then I would say just get headphones that are good for mixing. So in other words, don't go cheap. It's definitely possible, but you just need to be referencing a lot and then really understand how your headphones sound. That's my thought on it. And then be listening in many, many different environments. I find that if I do mixing with my headphones, which again I've said, I don't do a ton of, like, that's just not my bread and butter. Because I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, I know everything, like, about everything. Like I would rather just tell everybody like, hey, mixing is not like where, like, that's where I'm like the least competent out of the scale of everything that I know how to do. Um, so, but every time I do mix with headphones on, I typically wind up needing to make a lot of changes. Like, I'll listen with monitors, and then I'll go and listen in the car and listen in different environments and things like that with different headphones. I have like 3 or 4 different headphones that I use to kind of like listen in different. Like, one of them is really bass heavy, um, and whatnot. Cedric, how do I preamp my vocals? Just through my audio interface. So, which is the Complete Audio 6. So even then, like, I'm not running like super high end gear, and I don't think you need to run super high end gear to have good results. I would like to down the road get the things like the LA2A, it's a preamp compressor. That'd be dope. There are other things that are higher on my priority list. So, because yeah, with that question, Cedric, like, if I'm producing clients, they're pretty much all remote. So I'm not doing vocal recording in my studio unless it's me or if I'm bringing a vocalist in. So I'm not doing like a crazy amount of vocals. But I will. So what I'm gonna do here, kind of wrap things up. I'm gonna give you guys an exclusive preview for being here, of a track that I'm going to be having a music video for in the next few days. I've not done a music video in a very long time. Many of you might not even know that I have any music videos. They're not good. I mean, I'm not saying, no, they're okay. But this here, Cedric, which mix would you choose if you listened to it in so many different ways? That's a good question. I mean, what I'm going to do is listen in different examples and then like go and make adjustments based on like the overall, like, okay, I think this is problematic if I really feel like the low end is too muddy or something, or if, hey, this is sounding really harsh, or the vocal's not popping out enough or whatever. And I know how each headphone, kind of sounds in general. So like I have a pair of Sonys that are like in-ear wireless headphones that I use. And with those, they're like super, super bass heavy. They're crazy, crazy bass heavy. And so like, even when I'm listening to like really solid tracks, like the vocals seem to get buried anyway. So I just know with that's part of it. So anyway, what I'm going to do is show you guys this. Chad says he wants to hear a friggin' banger. Let's do it. So what this is I'm going to switch this around here. This is the song Feeling Good, made famous by Michael Bublé. But if it was a friggin' cinematic track, like hard-hitting cinematic track. So here it is. I had some issues with some samples, so I had to like redo it. I've already had this mastered. So this is not the mastered version because this is still in Logic, but here it is.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good.
Oh no, system overload.
Dragonflies out in the sun, you know what I mean. Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold world for me. And I'm feeling good. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. Stars when you shine, you know how I feel. Center the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. It's a new dawn.
Okay, so there it is. So there is a little bit of popping. You can hear that. Sorry about that. That's my CPU having a hard time. A lot. So I have 16 gig radiant wave. Yeah, I have 16 gig in this. The reason it's doing this is because I need to like seriously clean things up. Anyway, so yes, Cedric had asked, is that a vocoder or synth and break? So that right there is neither. That is my voice. Let me go back to this. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. I actually made a whole video on this chopped vocals in the video I made like a week ago, actually. Here's what this is. Ready? So that's actually my voice. I literally sing whoa, 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 and then I just chopped living crap out of it. And then you can see on the processing here, it's like compression, compression, EQ, de-esser, compression, driver, which is distortion, and then on the I think I have decapitator. So yeah, learn that trick from Make Pop Music. If you guys don't, if you guys don't follow him, he's awesome. Make Pop Music is another channel that I highly recommend. Austin Hole. Chad, you asked for a friggin' banger and you deliver. Yes. Appreciate that. Thank you. So this one was a ton of fun to do. Actually, what's really funny is I was just literally, this whole thing came together because it was like, it'd be cool. Just make like a very heavy hitting, like just pop cinematic thing. I have no idea what the heck I'm gonna do with it. I came out with this like chord progression at the beginning. And then all of a sudden I was like, huh, you know what I could do? I could just like sing the feeling good melody on top of this. And then all of a sudden I started doing like, that's what we're doing. We're doing it. So, and then that chorus, I basically wrote to be, oh my gosh, connection lost. There it is. The chorus, I rewrote because there's this chorus here.
It's a new dawn.
That right there, I just rewrote that because I was like, I need to add my own like compositional flair in there. So I just did it myself. So that was a ton of fun. So yeah, Radiant Wave. I'm also streaming this video. Yes, that is also true. This program's pretty. Yeah. Cool. Cedric, yeah, as far as vocal, little reverb and delay in your vocals. Yes. Let me see. I actually did mix this one. I did mix this. On my vocals, let's see. This is the lead vocal. Oh, that's funny. Oh, yeah. So I have it outing to that. So I have, let's see. This is SIQ. That's let's see. Let's open up my buses here. So yeah, QL spaces and replica for those. So I love QL spaces. QL spaces is a phenomenal reverb. Absolutely love it. Logic's reverb, the chroma verb, I think it is actually pretty decent too. Why is my mouse continuously getting... It's driving me nuts. I want to look at your comments, but my mouse isn't letting me do it. One thing I've been trying to do on Logic Pro 10.4 unsuccessful is scratches. Could you help? How do you mean scratches? I think you need to maybe clarify a little bit more what you mean. That would help me out a lot to help you. Cool. I mean, if you're, yeah, that JP. I'm asking about this question here. do I start? Oh, you want the DJ effects. Yeah, there's some plugins you can get that can do it. Actually, the remix. So if you're using 10.4, you don't have it, but if you upgrade to 10.5, if you have like 10.5, if you upgrade, yeah. So I understand what you're saying now. If you upgrade to 10.5, then you can get the remix plugin, which has a lot of those sounds you can use. That's what I would recommend. Just like upgrade to 10.5 and use that. Phil Coleman, Go Big Red. How much time does it take to finish a project from Apo? That really depends. Like this one here came together extremely fast, maybe a day. I don't know, 4 to 6 hours. You're okay, JP. You want to know how to do it without plugins? Buy a turntable? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. It's a great question. That's just not my wheelhouse so much. So I apologize. I can't help with that. David Gilden, what remix plug? Oh yeah, so I have a whole video on that if you want to check that out on Remix. Here, I'll show you just real quick. So within Logic, if you go down here, audio, oh no, not audio units. Where is it? Yeah, it's under specialized remix effects. And then there it is right there. And you can play around with it. You can check out the video if you want to see like a more in-depth deal about that. So yeah, as far as like time to finish a project, it just depends on if I have to wait on anything, if I'm using other musicians. If it's just me in my studio doing stuff, I can crank stuff out within about a day. I mean, like I have a track that I'll be releasing here down the road. I have a series of singles I'll be releasing either later this year or very early next year. Like one of those, I just did it on a Saturday where my wife was gone and it was just me and my kiddo. And then whenever he was napping, I was down here doing stuff and the whole thing came together just while he was napping. What's my go-to for cinematic synths? You had some good ones on that track. So Native Instruments is always my go-to. I love Native Instruments with a passion. East West is also very, very good. Signal by Output is phenomenal. I use some Signal. Alchemy is also really good, just in general. So what are the most annoying things about Logic and what were the workarounds? That's a great question. I need to think about that, Steven. Golafloss. So Cedric asked about Golafloss. Golafloss? I've never used it. I don't know. Yeah, this question. Yeah. If you do this for any period of time professionally, yes, this is going to happen. The very first client that I ever worked for was a filmmaker, and I was composing and producing music for online advertisements. And the first project, this is kind of a funny story. I was 19. The very first project I did for him, it was for this software company, and it was a pretty cool ad. Like it was pretty visually entertaining and stimulating and whatever. And so I say to him, this, like, I kind of knew that like maybe I should sit down with him and watch it with him and like kind of get some feedback and figure out what he wants. And I didn't ask for reference. I just was dumb. Like I just had no idea what I was doing. So I was like, yeah, like we'll do this and whatever. And I just asked him like, hey, can you like send me some different points in time and kind of what you're thinking? And so he's like, yeah. So, 5 seconds, like we want theme A, and then like 30 seconds, like theme B. And then like, he's using these terms, right? I'm a composer. I'm like literally getting my degree in music composition. So I'm thinking like, okay, themes, I can do that. And so I go this like more like orchestral and like orchestral commercial and like adding themes and like, okay, got to do another theme for theme B. And then like he comes back. Oh, you know what? Andrew Wong, I did see him demo Go Floss. Yes. I know what you're talking about. I've not tried it. I want to try it. Sorry, that was like a little bit of an interjection, but just about clients. This is a fun story. I send him the first draft. His his response is, no, I was thinking like verse chorus. It's like, okay. So that right there was the day that I learned that filmmakers just never trust what they tell you, ever. If they use a music term, automatically assume they have no idea what they're talking about. so, and so at that point, so yeah, no, at that point, I pretty much just was like, all right, you know what, send me references, dude. Like, just send me references. And anyway, we ended up having a very difficult time working together. I did some more work for them, and he was very difficult to work with. And then I just ended up being like, okay, like I'm just not going to pursue any more stuff with them. But as far as like managing difficult clients, first of all, you do not need to continue working with them after you're done. If you sign like onto a contract where you're working on multiple things, finish out your contract and then say goodbye. So that's the first thing. I know that doesn't help you in the moment, but like you do not have an obligation to work for anybody. So if there's someone that you just do not jive with, you don't work well with, don't work for them again. And I understand that if this is like you're trying to like make enough money to survive and stuff, I totally get how difficult that is. But like you want to work with clients who are going to value you and respect you. As far as managing it and dealing with it, I think the best thing is to just be a very cool head, be very calm, be very respectful, treat them well, ask lots of questions, dig into their emotions, figure out what they're thinking, why do they want things the way they want them. And if you're figuring out that they just really don't want your feedback, they don't want your input, you got to do it their way or the highway, then you know what? Like especially if you're getting hired by them to do a job, then do the job. Just do the job and shake hands and walk away. Cedric, I just sent my music to filmmakers and leave out the conversations with them. They never know what our means. Yes, I ask them. So I ask filmmakers more of the like emotion questions, like what do you want people to feel? You know, how do you feel about this? You know, what are examples of other, you know, movies or films or whatever that kind of makes you feel this way? Asking like emotion-based questions is really good. Never ask them like, so do you want me to be this like in a major or a minor key? Like they're not going to know what you're talking about. And if they, the most dangerous thing is actually someone who's not a musician who thinks they know how to talk like a being musician. That is that's dangerous. And filmmakers sometimes do that. Like if you ever, you know, fortunately the people I've worked with recently, I've worked with them like before and we have a really good relationship. So I've done some like I did like an animated film project for Aaron Fisher, which if you guys seriously, you should go check him out. Aaron Fisher, he doesn't have like a big YouTube channel, but he's done some stuff that I've scored. And he's a phenomenal animator. Very, very good. He actually works in Seattle now for an animation company, which is awesome. Oh, I was asked if I mix processing on the master bus from the start. No, I don't. I do not. If you can make it sound good without any of that, then it'll sound very good with it. I try not to. And I try to have everything at a pretty low volume because you can always bump it up. Cool. We've been running for about an hour. Anyone else that wants to jump in? This is funny, Cedric. I have to always give lessons and definitions to filmmakers. Yep. That's great. Yep, that's that's pretty good. I've been pretty fortunate. I've done several for several of the same people, and the ones that I've done multiple projects for I've just really enjoyed working with them and had a lot of fun. I was about an inch away from doing a feature film years ago, and I ended up turning it down. It didn't fit. Yeah, it was a hard decision. It just didn't really fit the direction that I wanted to go. What's the top level on my mix bus? It depends on where I'm at in the process. I mean, I never want to be, yeah, like my -1 dB is fine. I try to be a little lower than that, but inevitably when you get really swept up, whenever we do like or whenever whenever I get like really swept up into stuff, I end up looking at my master button. Oh dang, like I'm like clipping. So then I'll like go and turn everything down. Cedric, we should do a live Zoom, live Q&A. James said, yeah, we can talk about that. We'll see. I had, I think what I'll do, because I had a, let me ask you guys what you think about this. I've had some ideas that I've been tossing around in my head as far as additional types of content that I could do. I was thinking about doing something like minus 10B going to the master engineer. Yeah, I mean like minus 6. I was gonna say so I had some like ideas as far as like I thought it'd be really cool to do something where maybe I wrote, maybe did like a scratch track of some kind and then like made it available to you guys and then do some sort of a contest where you can submit you producing that track or something like that. I have some ideas doing some things like that where it's like submission based, where it's like, hey, the winner, I'll do a live, showing their work, showing what they've done, and then maybe even like bringing them on and doing an interview, talking about their process, something like that. I've had some ideas around those lines. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts if that sounds cool, or if you guys have thoughts as far as like some cool contests I could do that involve actual music making. Like I don't really want to do these contests where it's like, hey, like put your name in a hat and then like we'll see if I pick you. Like I don't know. Yeah, I just like I don't like that. Like this is a music channel. Like this is a music production channel and like a songwriting channel. It's like I would rather do stuff where it's like, yeah. Nathan, do that. Cool. Cedric's in. Paul, do I generally bounce MIDI instrument tracks to audio before final mix? Yes. So lately, if I'm doing the mixing, I'm literally starting completely 100% from scratch. I'm literally exporting everything out as WAV files, exactly how I do it to Mixing Engineer, and then I'll literally, not on this one. This one's actually been done. The one that I just showed you guys, this has actually been done for quite a while. But everything I'm doing recently has been that way. If I'm doing the mixing, if it's for a client, I'm not mixing. If it's for a client, I don't, because I want the best possible product for them. So I'm not doing it anymore. I used to, but yeah. But as far as like, yes, I think it's a great idea to bounce things and to commit. And yeah, I think that's a great idea to do that. You can't, because then you can't be going in and like tweaking and changing things, and it's like you've committed to it. It's ready for its mix. Like we're in a completely different mental space for that. So I'll need to think a little bit more about this whole like contest submission thing, and in terms of how Ooh, this is a great question. That is a great question. So, does the acoustic analog traditional musician have any chance in this dystopian digital world? What will become of musicianship? Okay, I'm going to leave that up there. I love this question, Stephen. Fantastic question. I think that musicianship it's different, obviously, because it's not as technical in the sense of like being able to play things. But I think that in the era where everybody has access to everything, being able to stand out as a musician is more important than ever. And I think that it's just going to look differently in the sense of the people who are the best are not necessarily the best musicians in terms of like, look at me, I can play my instrument. It's going to be a lot more of the person who can like create the best songs and then arrange them in a very true dynamic way. So like the track that I just showed you guys here, it's a very dynamic track. That's one of the things that I try to do, is to create music that is very expressive, that goes somewhere, that every single moment we're going somewhere different, and every time, I mean, like, I never want to bore my listener. Like, the whole objective is, how can I make this different? How can I push this forward? How can I, it's like, how can I do that? How can I get that better? And so I think, for modern musicians, it doesn't change so much as like what good musicianship is. It's just the platform is a little bit, not platform, but like the way that we can do it and the way that we can actually like put stuff out there is different. So, the kid who can, pull up his iPad or her laptop, create music without knowing actually how to play piano, it's a very different kind of like workflow. But in terms of musicianship, it's the same. In terms of like what they can create, it's the same. But we have way more competition than ever. But I think the problem, or not the problem, but actually I think the advantage many of us have, this is the advantage I have, is I have a very deep level of understanding of how music works. And so someone who knows the DAW or knows plugins or knows production better than me, that's great. Like, it's fantastic. But like my unfair advantage is I probably know more about music than they do. Like I'm not trying to say that in this like cocky way or like whatever, but like I have made it my absolute goal in life to just know music better than anyone. And I don't. I don't. Like, let me be crystal clear. I don't. I do not believe that that's even possible, because there is no like that's not how do there's no there's no actual ranking, obviously, except for Jacob Collier. In which case no one wins, everyone loses. But that's kind of my aspiration, is I really focus on how can I be a better writer? How can I be a better composer? Because if I'm a better writer and a composer and arranger, all of that is going to translate into how I produce music. I see producing as nothing more than a means to an end of getting my compositional goals out there, getting my arrangements out there. And that is just the vehicle in which I kind of have to like stuff all my ideas into in order to make it happen for the world to hear it. And so, I don't really get that excited about like recording techniques. Like you can watch YouTube videos on recording techniques till you're blue in the face, but like that does not actually make you a better musician. It just doesn't. You can like do things and you should know things. Like you should obviously not be recording in like a really terrible room that, you literally you can just like hear your cat meow in the back or whatever. But like at the end of the day, like that's not what makes great music. Like that's not what people get excited about listening to music for. People get excited about music because like the music is really good. The music is deep. The music is powerful. It's emotional, whether it's the lyrical content or the chords or anyway. Yeah, I could talk about that for a long time. I think that's a great question. Steven, so one should be able to play their song on piano, guitar, sing without a computer, then develop via the DAW. I think I used to think that way. I don't know if I agree anymore. I think being a musician is something to like good. Like I think that if you can learn how to play the piano, it's probably one of the most valuable skill sets for a producer or a composer or a songwriter or anybody who's a musician. I think learning the piano it's literally like playing the orchestra with your fingers, because you have the full spectrum, the full range. And so learning how to play piano, learning how to improvise, learning chords, learning harmony and understanding how to, do like arpeggios and all that. Like, I think that's super, super valuable. But at the same time, man, I know some freaking incredible musicians who don't actually play an instrument, who could just blow your face off with the music they create, that are like legit musicians, where just completely like blown my mind in terms of like what I think a musician is, because I definitely grew up in that like, dude, you got to be able to play an instrument. Like you've got to be able to like show me what you can actually do. And I again, like I approach this whole thing as production is just a means to an end. It's a vehicle I use. And then just as I got older and I got more exposed to other people who are doing this, I started realizing like, wow, like a lot of producers that are just slaying it, they actually don't play an instrument. They're just their brain is the instrument, and they're really good at it. So, guys, this has been fun. This is where I'm going to shamelessly plug myself. So, I have a program starting in November. It's called Home Production Accelerator. It is for intermediate producers, not beginners. It seems like most of the people on here are in that ballpark or in that kind of range. So if you're like brand spanking new, this isn't really for you. It's a 6-week program. I'm only going to take 6 people, 6, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what it's going to be is a lot of one-on-one with me, a lot of group teaching. I have an entire course that I'm building that I'm not selling anywhere else. Literally, it's only going to be for the people that go through the program. I'm focusing 100% on a small number of people so I can actually like really, 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 really work with you to significantly improve your producing skills. I mentioned this earlier on in the stream, but I learned more in a few months working with another producer than years. I mean, it shaved off years of my learning curve. And so this here is for anyone who's kind of at that point where you've been maybe doing it a little bit longer, or not longer, but like you've been doing it a little while, but you're really struggling to get things to that point to where it's like this is really great. So this is not just the technical stuff. The whole purpose of the program is to really focus on like the musical stuff, like the principles of like why are we doing this and how are we doing this and all of that. So if you're interested in that, I am going to, oops. Well, that's awesome. It's like totally not prepared for this apparently. Whoa, why is, sorry. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I'm copying this in the comments. Oh, come on. It's gonna really make me do this. Hopefully I do this right. I'm commenting in here. Holy smokes. What is happening? Hopefully this is right. So I just commented in there the link that you can go to. This is just a wait list. This is not like a place for you to enroll. This is a wait list, so you just get notified when enrollment actually opens. So if you're interested, you can check it out. I'll leave it in the description here once this actually gets uploaded. But that's just there for you. Paul, the number of happy accidents that happen when you play an instrument can be incredibly, yep. I love this. This is a great comment. Yes, Beethoven could not play every instrument in the orchestra. Very, very few can. I really believe that being a composer is literally just being like, you're literally like your brain is the instrument. Like you're the conductor of all things. Like you have to understand and have an understanding of how everything works. So yes, I love that. That's a great comment. So I'm gonna give us like 60 seconds. Any last final questions, comments, concerns? Drop them below. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap this thing up, and I'm gonna spend some time with my wife because my son's asleep now, so I can't. Do I have a ballpark figure for the class, like price? Still working on that. I have a couple ideas, but I don't want to say anything here and then like totally not. I can tell you that this one will be the least expensive. The plan is to start running this every other month. Every 2 months I will run it for 6 weeks, and then I'll give me a 2-week break, and then have a re-enrollment. And again, I want to keep the numbers small so that way I can actually work with people like this. The whole purpose here is not to just like let's get as many people so as possible. So Paul, dude, thank you. That's awesome. So yeah, but yeah, I want to make sure it's a small number. There are so many people out there. So first of all, I wanted to say this. I am not opposed to selling, like I sell courses. Like I have courses, the link's not working for you. Shoot. Let me, give me a second. Okay. I'm going to go to the live on the actual YouTubes and drop it in the comment here. Whoa, I heard myself talking. I will actually... Oh, that is not what I wanted. My Lanta. Hold on, guys. I am so sorry. Apparently, someone wasn't prepared. But what I was saying about courses, I mean, I have like cheaper courses that I sell and stuff like that, or I have one. Steven, I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I must have gotten something wrong. Let's try this one. This isn't the bit.ly one, but it's... Okay, there we go. So Pleasing Annie and Steven, there it is. That's not the bit.ly one, but that is the one that will work for sure. Okay. I was just saying something. Oh, yeah. Like I have no problem with like cheaper courses that like are for everybody. But you know, I really think that if you want to take significant steps to improve, then there just has to be a little more attention than just like, hey, buy this course and like go through it. Like, again, I learned a lot that way, but I learned more when I actually had someone holding my hand. Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah. So like I said, that whole like sign up, it's just a wait list. So again, you're not joining anything or like whatever. I promise I will not be spamming you with junk. It's going to be literally everyone on that email list are going to get the first chance of enrolling. And there is an application process where I just want to hear a little bit of what you've done. I want to make sure I'm not bringing people in who this is not a good fit for. I really want to be like good about this. You know, again, I do not want to just be the guy who's like, hey, you want to give me money? I'll just take anybody. Like, no, like that, no. So I want to just make sure this is actually a good fit. So as far as the application, I'll have more information coming out about that that I'll be starting to send via email, probably beginning of October. So if you're on that email list, you will have the first shot at enrolling before I will say anything about it on YouTube, before anywhere. So basically, my expectation is that those 6 spots will be filled just from there. Like I probably won't even say anything on YouTube. If I do, then I guess I will, or something, whatever. Okay, cool. I said 60 seconds, and that's it. We'll just keep it there, and we'll be done. We'll just call it 1 hour and 22 minutes. Thank you guys. Seriously, everyone who came, thank you so much. This has been a ton of fun. I'm going to be doing these every single Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central. So come here next week, hang out. It'll be a blast. We will talk later.